just shut everything down. Well, now there's nowhere to play, so the pandemic has just shut everything down. This is for me, it's like reading a history book. You know, this will be a part of history.
A very, very grim chapter. Gregory Davis has been playing his trumpet with the Dirty Dozen Brass Band 43 years. He cuts a lonely figure on stage at the historic Orpheum Theater in New Orleans and has no idea when he will be performing in front of a live audience again.
To see absolutely no activity in all of these places, it is like a storm came through and everybody's inside waiting for the storm to pass, except this storm is going to take months and months before it passes over.
The rich brass sound is the foundation of music in New Orleans, and Davis says the root of all American music can be found here. But right now, legions of artists just can't make a living.
Jackson Square. Normally, on a day like this, it would be crowded with tourists, perhaps listening to a few street musicians, while they ponder where to go at night to listen to jazz and blues in the French Quarter. But the city has been silenced, and for all of their talent, many musicians struggle to make a living and do not have the wealth of resources to tap into at a time like this.
For those that are living gig to gig and have families to feed, or to, be able to feed themselves, a lot of times the gig was the rent, the gig was the grocery money.
This is a 1969 Gibson ES-335, popular blues and rock guitar. This is a 64 Gibson ES-175.
Steve Staples earned that head of white hair. He's been making a living playing music in New Orleans since 1964 and has owned International Vintage Guitar since '92.
We have, probably 100 clubs every night that have live music around town, 7 nights a week. Drive down Bourbon Street. It's clean. There's not one person on it. There's not one club open.
Staples has sold just 2 guitars in the past 6 weeks. Usually sells about 2 a day. He's applied for each and every part of the U.S. government stimulus package he can. But
2 days ago, I got a letter saying that I wasn't going to get it from the federal government because they were out of money.
William Pete Walker says he can play anything. Then he plays gospel or R&B. And he has lost much more than his income.
I miss my playing for my group, playing for my church, playing for all of the people. They died left and right, so.
One of the most spiritual cities in the world. It just all came to a halt.
One of the most iconic performers in all of New Orleans is KERMIT RUFFINS. He spends many of his days in the historic Treme neighborhood, lounging at his club. This is a city that encourages everyone to embrace each other, but hugs have given way to friendly waves.
I think everybody's going to be doing that for maybe a year to come, or longer, where we'll be outboard and staying distance. We kind of adapted to this now. It's a way of living right now. Nothing else we can do.
Artwork of musical legends is cropping up around the city. Gregory Davis is the son of Miles Davis. Everyone wants to get back on stage and put money back in the bank, but they want safety before song.
And now it's just unbelievable that some cities, some states are talking about, starting up and opening up. Who wants to be a sacrificial lamb to earn a few dollars?
Of course, no one. But when the city comes out on the other side of the pandemic, the question remains, how many New Orleans musicians will still be here to welcome tourists with their jazz standards? Sean Calebs, CGTN, New Orleans, Louisiana.